And this is my response, my video for the assignment on cholets. So what is a cholet? A cholet, it's a word for an indigenous person, and it was used in a derogatory way, but today it's embraced as more of a cultural identity and as a symbol of pride. So these cholets they are buildings that were created by, or the style was created by Freddie Mamani, and he started in El Alto, and they're usually houses that were designed to incorporate their indigenous background and heritage. They're elaborately decorated, and each one is unique. So usually the bottom floor is for commerce, some kind of a store, some way to rent out space for store, shop, something like that. And then the middle floor or floors would be used for parties, also to rent out or to have people just gather to have fellowship. And then the top floor would be for a living space for the family or person, whoever owns the building. And one thing I thought was interesting is that in this culture with the Cholets, they're really inspiring for women, and they own a lot of shops and they do a lot in the culture. So who is Freddie Mamani? He is an Amara Indian and indigenous to this part of Brazil, and he studied civil engineering in college, and he has a degree in that. But he did not receive a degree as an architect. But he didn't let that stop him. In 2005, his first building was actually completed, and in El Alto, and what he uses for inspiration for each one of his pieces are parts of his culture. So colors from the fabric, ceramics, and clothing. So each one has a unique flavor and visual representation of the culture. And in each one of his pieces, he wants to evoke a sense of pride and camaraderie with the culture. So what is the relationship between the Bolivian elite and the Neo-Andean architecture? So in this culture, there's a deep divide between the classes, and the elites do not like the new form of architecture and this style because of some of the things that it represents. There are many things that they don't like about it. Few being they don't understand the culture of the middle class and the poor, and so if you don't understand that, it just looks like a bunch of bright colors, and they think it looks tacky. Also, not understanding the rural lifestyle, and in the rural parts of the country, they're so far apart that some of the only times that they get together are for parties or gatherings where they get to catch up and see one another. Which is a big part of what these cholets are, is a gathering place for weddings and parties. Also, the elite don't like the idea of the poor and middle class moving up and buying these buildings that do have other ways of making money as well as a house. So the idea of moving up in a class is not an idea that they like very much. It's interesting the posture of these two men, Gaston Gerardo and Juan Carlos Calderon. They both had a sense of respect for Mamani and his work. Gerardo, he respects his intent for the buildings and his wanting to make them unique and part of the culture, but he also stated that he knows that it's not accepted by the establishment and the elite, and those people are not accepting this as works of architecture. But he also does not believe that his work should be considered architecture. And Juan Calderon, he believes something very similar, and he appreciates the fact that Mamani's works are very decorative, and what they evoke, the sense of pride and belonging in the culture and the people. He appreciates that, but he also does not think that his work should be considered architecture. For me, I think that architecture is a form of art, and I don't think you need necessarily a degree for creating architecture. Obviously, that's not in the whole thinking, keeping the building standing. I think that's very important, but I think architecture is about beauty and creativity, and I think that Mamani's works are very well designed in that they have meaning and what they stand behind and what they represent. I really enjoyed this reading this week, and hope you enjoyed. Thank you.